is why the Jomox Alphabase is awesome. Now let's create a beat from scratch. So just got this Jomox and I love it. It's one of my favorite drum machines. I've always wanted one. I have the Eurorack module. So now we're going to create a beat from scratch. So let's turn the mix volume down. And this is so much easier to use. I know people are creaming their pants over that $3,000 new Roland machine, but I like this better, and it's you know, it was quite a bit less money. So let's create a new pattern. There's nothing here. So the way this works is you got your patterns here. So let's do the kick drum and go to edit trig. Do the kick. I like to accent my kicks. So get this going here, and so one thing about this is it does have a few quirks. So I kind of tend to power cycle it when it has an issue like that, when it sticks. And I do need to update the firmware. But let's get a new beat cooking. So we're going to select the bank. We've got a beat here on bank 1, but bank 1, pattern 1. So it has 16 banks here. So if we pick like bank 1, pattern 5, that's got something too. 16. Yeah, so now we want to pick like bank 2, pattern 1. That's got something. So let's go see if bank 3 has anything. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of stuff with this, but if we go here, nothing in 16. So let's just make it easy and go to bank 4. Stop the sequencing. Yeah, there's nothing in bank 4, sequence 2. So this is so easy to get started with programming. Let's see if my camera's still going. Yeah, this is so easy to get going. All you got to do really is just, you find you have the banks. Unlike Roland gear, it's much easier, more intuitive. They actually have labels and stuff. It's not too many combos. So we're just on the init kit. We're in bank 4, and pattern 2 is a blank pattern. And just to sequence it, you just go edit trig. I'm doing this video because I've not seen any Alphabase MK2 tutorials, and I've learned how to use it. So edit trig, and we're going to select this your kick drum, and to do your accents, you can hold it down, and it turns like a light yellow. If you don't want to accent it, you just press, and it's like an orange red, right? So if you want to accent it, we'll just accent every other beat 4 to the floor. And now if we just put it, so I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe I need to clear the pattern. So let's try clearing it. So if I do a shift, let's see, shift clear pattern, I'm gonna go enter. And if I clear the kit, so shift 4, and then clear preset, I'm gonna go enter. So I just wanna clear it. So now if we just go back, edit trig and sequence, and we just try to do it again. Now it's working. So there's 2 ways to fix that stuttering issue. I have to update the firmware, probably the latest version, and you can reboot it, or you can clear the pattern, which is probably a good practice anyway. And a couple of things. If you don't have the sequence button set, it won't control pitch when you do your sequence. See how for that kick drum, just doing it. I kind of like a little mix it up this time. But if we do the sequence, so it's kind of flat, but if we do the sequence button and each of these, sequence, we want to increase on the kick drum. So now, check this out. When you increase the noise, you hear that beat. So now if we do another one, so I'm doing another accent, I'm going to just do another one. And if we want to increase the pitch, you can hear it. See that difference? And of course, we haven't even tuned it yet. So, and what I like about this is it's pretty much one knob per function, right? So you have, these light up, and the screen's pretty easy to use. So, you got so each of these, the 16 encoders is linked to a drum. So one is kick drum, membrane, and they have lights and stuff. But when you're programming it, so these are their tracks. So you can see for the pitch sequence, if we want these to all be sequenced, we can do this, and then they'll light up. acceleration mode is on. I don't know what that is, I'll find out. So now you can hear the difference, right? So it's kind of nice to add some variation to the sound. Do that. So we stop that, and then of course, to get out of the programming mode, if you want to get out of it, you just go kit sequence, right? And then this is like your mixer screen, so you can mix it. But right now I'm just programming the kick drum. So we want to program the kick drum, so we're selecting that. So we just get out of that. If you hit the kit sequence button again, you get the mixer page. Hit it again, you get the parameter page. So this is the first page. They light up, which is nice. The tune, so we can check the tune, see how instant that is. Pitch envelope, you can change the decay. So you can do a lot of customization. It's getting pretty funky, man. It sounds pretty funky. So you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. And then to get stop that. To get to the next parameter page, you can use the left and right buttons. So here you got the first page, tune, pitch. It's your compressor page, so we can change the compressor, metal noise, envelope amount, gate, LFO wave ratio. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do on this. Like, I also like, I would say this and my Retum are my favorite drum machines I have. So you can change the compressor. Let's go next page. So one word here, a little confusing, is so these correlate. So these light up, and then this has to do with the previous page. So basically, these two rows that are lit are the parameters, and then if you go to this one, it switches to the next page. So you don't have to use the left and right pages. You can use the knobs. And so compressor, metal noise, you can get pretty wild on this. There's a lot you can do with it. Waveforms. So you can get pretty far out with your drums, and you can get them pretty far out. I mean, they can sound, and it's like so you can get some pretty wacky drums. It's kind of pretty wacky, you know. So you can do your drum programming that way. And then so for that, and then we're gonna do probably my favorite part of this is the membrane. A lot of people say bad stuff about the snares and membrane, but my honest opinion is I think they don't understand how to program it. And I love the membrane because it's another synthesizer engine. It's analog. So here, if we just punch in a pattern, so we're playing this. One thing I like is the muting is so easy, right? So you can just press the encoder for the snare drum and mute it, right? So, and then you can punch in for performance. So we're gonna do some drums. We'll do some accents. We'll do some snares. And then when you hear and it's muted, so unmute that. So what's cool about this is you can get everything from snares to drum. The membrane is a synth engine. So if we go here, this is on the membrane page, so we can change all these parameters, pitch. So you can get a lot of crazy stuff. So this is has to do with the parameter for like membrane, the cup 1, cup 2. It's kind of like imagining you have the cover on the membrane, and then you got the noise engine. You can get pretty wild. You can get a lot of wild stuff on it. Noise. You can make it sound like a snare. So that's kind of snappy. And then what's cool is if you go to the next parameter page, you got your noise filter and all, and then your scenes, which can make it sound, they're kind of like presets for the snare and toms. So if you just change the scene mode, like here for example, we go to the scenes, so the scene's on, scene 1, so that's like your snare. That sounds pretty far out, so you hear that. And then if you go to like these, you got like 9 scenes for the snare. So that's kind of like your tom scene or whatever. And then you got, I kind of like that. It's kind of funky. And then you got your LFO, and and stuff. So you can really like take it really over the edge. Like you can really like really take this thing over the edge and make it wacky. I mean, instead of just house music. And then of course the rest of these engines are sample based, but the filters and the VCAs are analog. So we program some hats in, you know, it's pretty easy. So we can just do some hats and accent a few things. And then we do the hats and then we unmute them. Oh, I gotta turn it up. So we're gonna mute. I just want to hear that closed hat. So that's the closed hats. And then if we get back here, we can go back here and then with the hats, let me stop this. With the hats, you got the different filters, low pass filter, pitch, all that stuff. So you can sound pretty wild. And then you got your sample engine. There are a lot of choices. You can stop and start the sample at different places. The pitches. This is your VCA. You kind of want that going, so it uses the analog filters. And then you got your you know, the routing is important. So you can, yeah, you want to use the routing feature. So that way, yeah, so you got all this kind of cool stuff. On this page, you got your sample page. Yeah, so you got a lot of stuff, really cool stuff you can do. I mean, you can get pretty far out there with the hats and stuff. Which I really like that because it's very creative and it seems very responsive to encoders. And some people complain about jumpy encoders, but I haven't really had that issue yet with this. They're sensitive, but I don't have them being jumpy. Maybe a little bit, but I'm gonna probably update the firmware when I get some time. I haven't played on this in a while and I love it. So you can get some pretty cool stuff. And then if we punch in the kick drum, you can hear it's pretty far out. And then turn this down. And then, so I also like that you have the presets. So if you go back here, use the data knob, you can get like preset. So you can kind of learn how to do it. Click it. So you can see like some really cool stuff. What I like about this is it's a good learning tool, right? So if you want to learn how to program drums and you go to the kick drum, you can kind of see what they got set for each one, right? Because they're different, right? So you can see like if we want to work on our kick drum, you can see what they have things set to. And then if you go to the kit, I'm going to undo that. You just go to the kit, like this one, and then you see what they got for the settings. You can see kind of like, but you know what they got. So, and then, you know, it's just a really good drum synth. I mean, there's a lot to it. I have a little issue with MIDI and stuff, but I've pretty much been using it by itself for the most part. So I really like this drum synth. So yeah, so I recommend it. I like the one knob per feature. It's fairly straightforward, and you know, there's different things, and the effects are really cool too. So yeah, if we just go back to one of the banks I have something on. No, I don't want this to be a 2-hour video, but let's say you program a pattern you like, right? And you want to save it. It's pretty easy. You know, just go to like bank 4 and pattern 5, and there's nothing there. So we want to program a pattern, so we'll just do and we'll just do a membrane. Right, so let's go back here, kind of change this up a bit. So let's clear this kit and create something from scratch, and I'll show you how to save it. It's actually pretty easy. We just do shift and it. So enter, shift clear pattern, enter. That way we can clear it, the buffer and everything, and we want to just do the kick drums, do just that, boom, boom, do the membrane, boom, 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 boom. Do hi-hats, that, open hats, clap, rim shot, why not, crash, why not, ride, the first sample, and we can change it in an FM synth I really like a lot. And we play it. So what I like about this is how you can punch stuff in. In this now, and then make sure you can add stuff. See how good it sounds right now? Now, if we want to do effects and make the effects sound really cool, the way you enter effects is you can go into the main menu, of course. So this is your FM synth settings, FM3. So you can get pretty wacky with this thing too. I told you can get wacky with it. You can get wild far out there with the FM synth. And Roland's got nothing on you. I'd be having to spend hours trying to figure out how to program it. I like that. That sounds pretty dope. So I want to save that. So if I just do shift stow kit, we can just do save the pattern and just go enter. We do, if we want to do yes, we can do, so actually we can just, we hit it again. And if we want to do shift stow kit, yeah, so there's different ways to do it. So now we're good. Now, if we want to change the effects, there's a, I believe it's shift, so the shift commands, you know, FX page, shift 13 turns it off. And this is our, so these are our effects pages for our delay and reverb. The first one is the reverb, so clap, rim shot. So if we play this, room size, so first one, room size, ROM size, room size. And then you can change the kick. See that? Look at that. Look at that. I love it. This is a good delay. So you can change the reverb. It's just so awesome. Yeah. And then if we want to go, I think the next page is, yeah, these are all reverb for all the different. So you can turn the reverb off too. So if you want to turn it off, right? So you don't hear reverb. So you can turn it off pretty easy. I like that. And then the next page is if we go down, yeah, I'm trying to find the delay. All right, parameters. Okay, so yeah, so that's some of the reverb. And like I said, I'm still learning this machine, but these are all your parameters for your effects. And they sound really good. So you can have, you know, what's good is you can have your different reverbs set to different levels. If you don't want them to be, you know, at a certain level, you can have more reverb on the kick drum and less on the FM engine, for example, which is kind of nice. Right, so you can kind of tone it down. You can tweak it. And what I like is how responsive it is in real time. You don't need to go through 20 menus like Roland does. You can tweak it in real time. And these like membrane. Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. And then the shift commands, you can do stuff. Effects program, enter. You can do different things. Yeah. Really nice. You can change, oh, you can change the scales too. So if you want to change the scale, and what that does, that changes the scale, but also, so I think they got this from the Roland drum machines, the 909 and so forth, these lines. So you can have like a triplet, quarter note, right? So you change it to SD. That's kind of trippy. B. So I'll leave it A. So you can select the destination. So yeah, I'm kind of just like still learning this thing. It's really good. And I did print the manual out. So the manual is really well written. I think Jürgen did a good job on the manual. Compared to like Roland and Korg manuals, it's so much better. So according to the manual, the scale I just showed you is the scale function switches between clock dividers that produce basic time bases. So you can go 32nd notes, triplets, scale A's, 1/6. My only complaint about this is I think Jürgen should have provided a printed manual. If I'm paying this much money for a synthesizer, I know he makes an excuse about saving trees. He should have provided a printed manual. Sorry, that's my only beef. I love the machine otherwise, I think it's great. So you can do panning too, really is good for like the effects. Okay, so this is kind of what I want to find out. The effects mode, yeah, I was right. You can do press shift cancel and 13, right? Effects program. So like I was mentioning, shift 13 is the effects page is off. You turn back on. So there's a section in the manual about effects. They cover that. So the effects page, enter the effects page hotkey, now 13 click. So you can actually just do this. You don't need to do shift, right? So it just, like say you're playing a set and you want reverb on and off. Yeah, got it on. It's kind of nice how you can just click it and the effects go off. Now, and I was mentioning like the different things. So we go back to the effects page, the room size, the reverb frequencies, and there's a lot of parameters for reverb. And then the delay is on page B. So here's the thing. This is your page button, right? So that's what I was trying to figure out to show you is where are the effects for delay. So that was, page A is the reverb. Page B on the page button is the delay. So what's cool is if you don't want reverb on, you can have it your way. You can turn the reverb off, right? If I don't want reverb on, that's fine. You can have it your way, as Burger King says, right? Or McDonald's your way. But we can have delay on. So check this out. And we can really make the delay crazy. Hear that? You really can get wild in space. You can change and make this far out. You have like delay for each. It's crazy because you can set the delay for each voice differently. It's pretty cool. So that sounds really far out. And I'm just kind of, and then if we turn the reverb back on, you can get some really spacey stuff. Like I said, you can get some really spacey stuff. Everyone thinks you gotta make dance music. So hear that? Now, it sounds a little wacky and stuff, but my point being is everybody thinks the Jomox is just to make like one sound. And what I want to prove with this video is you can make, yeah, you can do the house stuff or whatever, bebop stuff, and turn the effects off. But you can also do like weird experimental stuff. That's actually what I like using my Erica synths and Electron stuff for. And then of course you can, if you want to, play some, house music. So if I do that, I just go bank, bank one. So you can get some raw stuff on it, and you can tweak this thing really crazy. So yeah, and then of course I like the presets, go back to the presets. I think I like this one a lot. That's so good. This is such a fun, good machine. So would I recommend it as a first drum machine? Yeah, I think it's real easy to get started with, and I like the fact that it's one knob, pretty much one knob per function. There's some combos, but what I like is it's easy to understand. He prints what they do, and basically, if you just do like shift 1, store kit, you can cancel by hitting shift command again. You can clear a pattern. See how easy that is? Shift 3, store pattern, bank 1, or whatever you want to do. You can clear presets. Shift 5, last step. So you can do it's real easy, and the manual is really good. Oh, this is your shuffle. So it's real intuitive. Real time record off. I haven't used that yet. Metronome. You also have an instrument pan. Scale, which is what we covered earlier about the triplets and patterns and beats. Time signatures. Hotkeys. You can do a lot of things. So there's a lot of ways to do it. You can do single mode, multi-mode. I haven't really delved into multi-mode yet. And if you want to shut down Alphabase, shift 16 is what they recommend. And then like here, pretty much, you get out a sequencer and you just, you're playing that. We can turn the effects off, which is kind of the thing I think I like. So let's turn the reverb off because it is kind of jarring. So yeah, it is kind of jarring. So we're gonna turn that off. It's off. Reverb is off. Delay. Let's turn a delay off. Yeah, because it kind of gets kind of annoying after a while if you have too much of it. And then yeah, so we get the compressor. Yeah, it's just like so good. And if I want to mute stuff while I'm playing, you just hit this button. Boom, boom, boom. You can mute everything. It's so easy to do. And then it lights up, right? So when you're playing, and you can program your kicks in, and then you got your membrane, and then we want to punch this back in, so you can punch back in your snare. Boom. 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 See, for live performance is great because sometimes you want to punch in snares and stuff, right? So you get out of edit mode. Oh, I didn't cover some of this stuff in this video, but there's a lot of parameters, and the manual covers all the parameters for the filters and the VCAs and the envelopes. It's really easy to do. I also can do chain, which I haven't really done yet, and then there's parameter locks you can do as well. But I don't want this video to be 3 hours long. So, but I find it really easy to get grooving with, and I like it. And I like the sound. I have a Jomox Rock module, so I knew I liked this this machine. Is it perfect? No, it's got its quirks. Some of the workflow stuff is a little out there, but I have Roland gear and Electron gear, and I found this much easier to get started with than either of those synthesizers I have. I do think Electron has a better sequencer and a better project manager, but from a user perspective, like a beginner, this is easier to get started with because you just basically, it's very straightforward and it sounds really good. So hope you like this video. Cheers.